social media, again, it's all about perception. I do not care, realtors, I want you to hear this and listen to this. I do not care how many likes, comments, etc. It's a vanity metric. What I care about is, are you getting more views than you got the previous week, month, etc. So my business page now, 20,000 views a month, all for free, all organic. Well, how did that happen? We share that to our personal page. Anyway, there's a lot to jump into there, Connor, but I think the biggest thing is realtors give up too soon. Social media is basically the one thing, I don't know many, that you can do in your real estate business for free to grow your business.
Guys, we got a special guest on the show today. Wolfpack member John Schuchman is on the call. He is a rock star when it comes to social media and understanding this. He understands this on a very, very deep level. We're going to talk about some of the biggest mistakes we see real estate agents and entrepreneurs making in the world today, because social media is not just there for a business world, it's also there for a personal world. And sometimes agents and entrepreneurs don't know how to transcend both of those and make their business work for them, or they're posting the wrong things that either put people off in their personal life or put people off in their business life. But John's an expert on capitalizing on social media using both. We're going to dig into a lot of the big mistakes he's seen people do over the years. He's a coach, he's a podcaster, he's a social media expert. John Schuchman coming on the show today, guys. Can't even say it today. Bear with me. But let's get you on here and let's share some wisdom and knowledge to these agents on how to fix their social media and why they're doing it incorrectly and how you've been so successful in generating so many leads. Thanks for coming on the show today, brother.
Absolutely, Connor. Well, thanks so much. And I'll just say, thanks for what you're doing through your YouTube channel. Guys, I've been a part of the Wolfpack for, I guess it's been 4 or 5 months. And I'll just tell you, this isn't like the EXP pitch, but I'm telling you, it's game changing. I pushed back on it for so long, thought it was, oh no, the virtual weird is so stupid. This is dumb. It's just a pitch. It's just a this. And I'm telling you, the value I've gotten from Jerry McCain, Louis Galt, Mike Sherrard, Connor Steinbrook. It's like, I was so bummed when I miss out on EXPCon because I'm like, my family's there. I'm already ready to go for next year. So I just want to thank you for what you're doing, to help agents, because I know people give us people that don't understand it hate on it, and then once you're in, you're like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this for so long? So I'll just start by saying thank you for what you're doing to serve and help the Wolfpack. Dude, it's like every freaking day there's another call with a ton of value. It's like, it's just incredible. We had a great call yesterday with Louis, and so I just want to, thank you so much for what you're doing to help agents, because it's absolutely incredible, and I'm honored to be here.
Well, very grateful for that and those good words. And it wouldn't be here if it wasn't for great leaders like yourself and great entrepreneurs coming into the Wolfpack. It's just one person doing this. It's a collective. There's so many talented individuals. You got Mike's the #1 recruiter in the world as part of Wolfpack. Suman's the #2 production agent in the world. We have the top of the industry inside the Wolfpack organization. They're all very free and open to share things that they're doing in their business, which is pretty not normal when you really look at the industry historical record. Mm-hmm. Everything is usually kept close to chest, and here everybody knows if they share more and give more, they're all going to win more. So it's a different environment. So that's why you guys see the excitement outside of it. But it is made up of great individuals just like yourself. So thank you for sharing here today. But let's dig into it. So what do you think is the biggest issue? You generate a lot of leads and have a lot of clients coming to you through social media. Mm-hmm. A lot of people post on social media, but they don't get the result on social media. It can be very frustrating. They think they're doing the right thing. They're posting out there, but then you kind of look at their stuff and they're maybe not dressed appropriately or doing those things that you probably wouldn't want your boss to see and type of stuff. And then they wonder why they're not getting leads. But what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see right now? Why you think agents are posting incorrectly, or what they're posting is incorrect, and why they're not really converting?
Yeah, well, I think that one of the biggest things is people give up too fast, Connor. So, for instance, I use this example, and I'm probably going to talk about sports a little bit. I love sports. I went this year. I'm a huge Phillies fan. We won't talk about what happened at the end of October and them losing in the NLCS, but a huge Phillies fan. And this past February, I got to experience something that I've dreamed of my whole life. I got to go to spring training. And I remember being there on February 21st. And you're seeing these players, big players, Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Nick Castellanos, these players running base running drills. And I'm like, my wife looked at me and kind of laughed. And she's like, why are they running base running drills? Like Reese Hoskins, these guys know how to run the bases. And what I learned in that moment there at the end of February, and then watching them, spring training games, February into March, and we were in Florida for 5 weeks. That's the freedom real estate has given me to be able to do that. I noticed that you don't get results like going to the World Series last year or the playoffs this year without consistent action. So that's why they're doing the base running drills in February. Are you rounding the base at the perfect angle to make sure you like save speed? These guys have been in the major leagues for this isn't like rookies. Rookies obviously like you're going to these are guys that have been there 10, 15 years still running these drills in February. Why? Because the success comes from the daily activities that you do to make yourself better, right? So that was I don't know, and again they just lost late October, but that was 7, 8, 9 months ago. They were doing the things to create the success. Now and so I think every time I talk to realtors, they're like, "Well, I tried this for 3 weeks and nothing happened." And I say, "I do not want to hear it." And I'm very gracious, but I like get so frustrated. And they're like, "Well, why?" And I'm like, "When I got into real estate, I consistently posted for 9 months on social media consistently. In that time, I got licensed in August of 2019. My first settlement was not till April of 2020. My second settlement was June of 2020. And then I had a few in August that year, so kind of finished the year with some success. I had 5 deals. But in the first 11 months, I had 2 deals. I didn't get frustrated and stop posting. No, because when I started posting consistently, I would hear these comments. Now, realtors listening to this, you know the answer, but how much money? So all my posts were basically showings and open houses. How much money did I make, realtors? Nothing. And we all know that, right? But the general public looked at it and said, wow, John has all these showings. John has these open houses. I kept hearing the words, wow, you're crushing it. And I'm like, no, I'm not crushing it, but that's what people saw. And so social media, Connor, is all about perception. Now, that doesn't mean lie. Don't lie. But I would share my first client ever, I showed 63 homes. It sucked. But guess what I did? Instead of like moaning about it and complaining about it, they were going to move to Maryland and then PA. And so that's why it was so many. Instead of complaining about it, Connor, I used it as an opportunity. Hey, I'm going to put stuff out there. I'm going to go to showings. I was like the stay-at-home dad for a little bit. Our son was born 5 days after I got licensed. So when my wife went back to work in December, I took him to showings and said, Caden's here to help dad with a showing. Like anything in your personal life can also be tied to your business. And so I would say, and there's a few, specific things, but in general, Connor, eh, realtors are not putting in the time, energy, and effort. Think about Mike Sherrard, right? Mike is now the biggest recruiter in the world, basically. Like, guess what? Mike didn't post on social media 3 times and then be like, oh, no one liked my post or commented. I'm going to stop. No, Mike hustled, Mike grinded, and Mike did the work, right? That's the thing. Like, social media, again, it's all about perception. I do not care, realtors. I want you to hear this and listen to this. I do not care. I do not care how many likes, comments, etc. It's a vanity metric. What I care about is, are you getting more views than you got the previous week, month, etc. So my business page now, 20,000 views a month, all for free, all organic. Well, how did that happen? We share that to our personal page. So anyway, there's a lot to jump into there, Connor. But I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing is realtors give up too soon. Social media is basically the one thing, I don't know many, that you can do in your real estate business for free to grow your business. And so why would it be the one thing that you're like, "Oh, I tried it for 3 weeks and I'm discouraged and I'm stopping." Well, so what are you going to do? Go pay like for leads? Like you've got to and so when I coach people, I say, "What are you going to do?" Many of them are struggling. The people I talk to, they're either lonely and frustrated, or they have been paying, all these real estate websites for leads, or they are like, how do I use social media the right way? And so I've kind of created, like, I know how to do it now and how to show you things you should be doing. And we started before we started recording. A lot of people are either all business, no personal, or all personal, no business. Now I know every realtor I get on a call with is going to be like, well, I use my business page. That's great. I'm glad you do. You probably need to do it better, but it still needs to come over to your personal page to sell real estate. So anyway, sorry, I just get so
Yeah.
pumped up about that.
No.
A lot of directions we can go with that.
I mean, it's just like because of television and then social media and now everything with short form content, the attention span and the immediate gratification mindset's just overwhelming the world right now. And really, when people get frustrated because they're not having success faster, it's really an entitlement issue because what they're saying is, I believe in my mindset from where I'm sitting inside my own mind that I've done enough, I've paid enough of a sacrifice that I deserve to have a bigger outcome. And since their outcome's not there, they're frustrated. But the reality is, you have not done enough because the world would give it to you if you already done enough. And so the law of sowing and reaping, some people call it the echo effect. If you listen to Ed Milet, the actions that you put in today are going to show up later in your life tomorrow. But if you guys put some time in and stop, that's like putting a seed in the ground, letting it start to grow, and then taking the time off and stopping. That's like digging it up to see if it's growing. It's growing, but you just killed it because you took the time off and broke that momentum. And it's
Mhm.
literally like you see this with college. How many kids drop out their freshman year of college, and how many? If you think about that, it's less than 6 months. And if you guys are starting anything in business, a marketing campaign, a new vision or a new goal that you're trying to achieve, and you're going to put in 1 2 months and give up or deviate or kind of move off that pattern, you're basically quitting before like your freshman year of college is over when you really think about it. And you went to college for how long? 4 or 5 years or more
Mhm.
to get a degree to go work for someone else. Why aren't you working harder for your own family and your own goals and your own career? Is kind of what I used to have to tell myself, because it's this immediate gratification that they feel it's not working or they're not seeing the result. And then they say the price is too high to pay. If I continue on this path and I still get this negative result, then I'm even farther in the hole than I was before. So let me go start digging a smaller hole over here, get it a little bit down the, dig it like a foot deep, and then pivot from that hole and go start another hole. And they bounce around and they start stop and they start stop. And it really is one of the biggest issues, guys. So stay consistent.
Mhm.
Don't try to overwhelm yourself with like 50 million platforms all at once. Pick one or two. Stay very consistent. Become an expert. Learn those. Systematize them, and then add another one on top of it. But
Mhm. Well,
let's
and
let's
kinda
dig
it
into.
would almost be like that Phillies player getting to July and not having success and being like, you know what, I'm gonna stop playing, right? It would, and if you watch sports, Trey Turner, big player, right? Phillies signed him to a huge contract this offseason. He was terrible, terrible all season. Then August 4th, fans gave him a standing ovation, and it kind of like resurrected his season, and played well the rest of the way. But I just think it's so funny. Like, what if he would have been like, you know what, forget it, I'm going home. Like, you couldn't even imagine if you're a baseball fan, sports. Like, you couldn't imagine LeBron James being like, "No, I'm going to stop because I missed a few baskets." And so,
Yep.
yeah, sorry, sorry to cut you off there,
No,
but I
it's
just
true.
think it's so important to stay consistent.
And I mean, also just like I tell young entrepreneurs, like it took me almost 4 years of my business career from when I started my real estate investment company. I started going in debt to work to get back to break even. So literally, I worked pretty much for almost 4 years of my life to make nothing. And now I make a large income, but people see the outcome. They never saw the runway, and they hear the story. It sounds cool to say in a clip, but they don't ever internalize like, I really worked for 4 years of my life without a single payoff, but now I get rewarded later for it. And that's what business is. If you want immediate gratification, that's what a job is. You trade your time today,
Hmm.
get paid today. Entrepreneurs trade their time today and get paid tomorrow, but exponentially paid off in the relationship they could never get paid with trading their time to a job. So just know, guys, you are in a journey and you have your life to do this. Don't be so entitled, is what I used to tell myself, that I need this now. All you can control is not the outcome, but your activity on a daily basis. So get up and work all
Yes.
day, every day, and be aggressively patient, is what I used to just always say, that word aggressive patience, which is be patient to let it happen over time, but be aggressive every single day, meaning put the work ethic in, work and show up every day. And it's always going to be longer than you think. It's always going to take more money, more time, way more stress, and the doubt is always going to be there. And I believe that that's the doubt and the fear and the mindset that we all have to battle through, which is the test of every entrepreneur, that they get to the end, which is they battled through that sacrificial period, the valley of the death, when nothing was working, when they had to motivate
Hmm.
themselves every day, stay in the game, and then they see the rewards and results later. But so some of you guys are probably in that journey right now. You're on the right path. If you're doubting yourself, keep going. You will make it happen. Now let's go into
Yeah.
some actual things that you're doing with your social media. So, I know you're
Hmm.
doing things with like birthdays and things like that. Like give maybe some pretty cool tips that you've seen work well for you, that are easy to implement for the average agent and also still powerful for top producers that have been around and kind of doing the things that they've been doing forever and kind of have their
Yeah.
swing in kind of, are you dialed in?
Yeah, I love this. Great question. Thank you so much. So I would just say agents, first of all, whether you've been an agent a day or 20 years, 30 years, first of all, those agents that have been in 30 years, can we update those headshots like once a year, please? Like I don't need to see a headshot from 1998. But I think that one of the biggest things is every time I get on a call and talk to an agent, I say, I barely know you're an agent. So here's how you do this. Fix this. First of all, your profile, your personal profile needs to say realtor at, so mine says realtor at EXP Realty, and might have our link to the John Schuchman and Madison Barrios group, our team here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. But agents, you want to think of it this way: your social media is a free and easy way for people to get to know, like, and trust you. Let's put your phone number on there, right? If you're actively selling real estate, and not everyone is, right? But if you are actively selling real estate, put your darn phone number on there in your bio, so that when I go to your page, if you you know if so when I go to your page, I see, hey, I help people buy and sell. Give me a call. Now, mine doesn't show that right now because I talk about how I'm helping agents, and there's only so much text there. But it should show, if that's your main focus, selling real estate. It should show your phone number, right? 867-5309. Put Jenny's number in there. That is an easy one that realtors are not doing, that I want to encourage them to do. Yeah, the birthdays one is huge for me. So I'll kind of share a quick example. Basically, I want to do, if you've ever heard of like Jesse Cole and the Savannah Bananas, Jesse Cole basically takes baseball and is like, I want to do everything different from the Savannah Bananas that I see at a baseball game, right? So it's an all inclusive ticket with your meals, everything. So in terms of real estate, I want to do everything different than every other agent is doing. So even as I think about how people use Facebook, let's think about birthdays. What do they do? They're going to write a wall post about happy birthday, Connor. Hope you have a great day. Connor's going to get 500 of those, not going to really be able to respond to all of them. He might like them all. Do you want to like really win? You send a message on their birthday, a Facebook message or a text. If you have their number, text them or call them. I think all of us on our birthday, we get hundreds of Facebook posts on our page. How many personalized messages, text, or calls do we get? I bet you that sticks out. How are you going to stick out? So I'll kind of share. I had a client that I was working with. Basically, it was about a year and a half ago. They were going to buy. They decided to stop. Her birthday was this past December. I shared this story, so I still remember it. Her birthday was this past December, and so it's coming up soon. So I'll say it again. I said, "Happy birthday, Tamara. Hope you have a great day." And she said, "Thank you so much, John." And I said, "You're welcome." That was it. Less than 24 hours later, after not speaking to this lady, Tamara, in over 13 months, she said, "By the way, I don't know if when we were looking for a home we ever told you, but we have a house, a rental in this area that we're thinking we were going to give the tenant a rent to buy option, blah, blah, blah. Could you run comps?" So I said, "Sure." Within 3 days, I ran comps and sent them to her. But here's the thing. I don't think it was random that suddenly Tamara thought, "Oh, yeah, John's in real estate. We could sell that property with him." I said, "Happy birthday." She said, "Thank you." I just said, "You're welcome." That was it. But it kind of reminded her, "Oh, John's a realtor. Duh. John helped us look to buy. Why don't I ask him about this rental property?" Last year I was at a World Series game. A buddy of mine messaged me. His name's Ryan. Ryan I had not talked to in over 13 years. He said, "Hey, I see you're a realtor in the Lancaster area. Me and my wife are thinking about buying. Can you help us?" And so I think the things you do, the likes, the comments, they're a vanity metric. I do not care. I post stuff and I want to create engagement, but what you'll find on Facebook, especially my main platform, a lot of people are lurkers. That's what I call them. They scroll, they will not like anything, they will not comment on anything, and that's okay. What you want to do is just post and post stuff that people are going to engage with. That's how Ryan found me. He had not liked, commented, or said anything to me in over 13 years since we went to college together, but he was seeing that I was an active realtor in Lancaster, right? The birthday thing is just, how can I do something different? So it takes time, but even if every day you get on, "Hey, check the birthdays, happy birthday," a lot of people won't even engage in conversation. They'll just be like, "Thanks," and you can say, "You're welcome." That's it. But it kind of reminds them who you are and what you're doing. And I think that's a simple one that realtors can do.
Yeah, it's important to understand this because like we're all so busy and the furious pace of business is going fast and you have so many people that are having a birthday. I mean, yesterday I had like 7 people have a birthday and it is quick to easy. Just do the default, congratulations, hit that button and move on. But that's not really going to build that relationship. And so if you look at the psychology of communication, what's working, what's not working all over the world in different business models, think about like a LinkedIn post that you guys get that comes in and it's just like this long message. You knew they sent it to 1,000 people. Think about an automated phone call coming in. You know they sent it to 1,000 or million people. The communication that's going to get the reception on the other side that they're going to respond and feel that they need to or could is when it's sent to them and they read it or hear it or listen to it and it feels personal to them, where it wasn't a collective message. So if you guys are sending messages or mass marketing or anything, that first sentence, if the reception of it from the person reading it or hearing it
Hmm.
is, this is not sent directly to me, they don't feel special, they don't feel as individual, they feel it's collective, and they're not going to probably respond to it at least near at the conversion rate that you would if it was just a simple touch. So I've like, even when it comes to recruiting and attracting agents,
Hmm.
reaching out to agents, I tell agents like for sure to look at the partner that they potentially reaching out to, their background, their hobbies, their family size, their seasonality in the business, and make the message have something about, let's say they, just say the Phillies just won or something like that, make a post. Let's say that, they just had a new baby or they just got a new dog or they, like they share a hobby like I do with fishing or they like golfing or whatever it is. Point out something that's personal about them because it's going to make them realize that you had the time to respect them. And when they feel respected by you, they're going to show respect back and probably respond to you, when otherwise, if they think you just had the time just to just quickly click a button and move on, they're probably not going to engage with you the same. So it's a very important understanding of communication psychology that we're talking about here. But
Well, and Facebook almost makes it now they make it. They'll show you the birthdays and give you automated wall posts to make. It's like no, that's it's like the opposite of what we want to be doing. Like they're making it so easy to just make a wall post. How do we kind of be different than everybody else?
I mean, it's like, are we just all drones and cyborgs? Almost, probably about this time now.
That's right.
But it really is, it's like technology communicating to technology, but kind of managed basically behind the scenes by a human. We're just hitting buttons and sending automated messages. You're not really putting a personal touch. And
Mhm.
what makes you different from everybody else is you're a person. You have a different construct of life experiences, ideas, and belief systems. And if you can't share that and show that, you can't separate and distinguish yourself from everybody else. And that's really what you're trying to do, is stand out from everybody else. And if you can't, well,
Mhm.
someone else is going to get your business. So you need to start thinking, how do I stand out, and how do I make people that I could be doing business with potentially feel respected and make them feel important and make them feel seen, and that also that they can trust that you're going to work hard. And the other thing that John's talking about is consistent posting over and over and over. Look at the shoes of the consumer looking in. Do you want an agent or an entrepreneur working with you that is pretty sporadic, not serious about their business, not too focused, and there's posts here and then randomly a post here? Or when you see someone posting every day consistently and also improving, is that someone that you want working with you to sell your house? So they're looking at
Mhm.
your discipline, your consistency, as how you're going to work for them if they let you sell their house. And if you can't even do it in your own business, why would they let you handle their business if that makes sense to you guys? But curious your thoughts
Yeah,
on
well,
that.
Connor, I actually just had for an EXP referral, and guys, again, not to just beat on the EXP thing, but people always don't want to leave a brokerage because they're like, oh, well, we have this referral network. You have no idea what you're doing because I promise you, I think half my deals since I came to EXP have been EXP referrals. So it's just wild. But so this other EXP agent, Malcolm, connected me to the person. But the guy said, now he's an older gentleman, isn't even on social media. But when we met, I said, why did you decide to work with me? And he said, John, I see from you showing me your social media, even though I'm not on there, that you're going to hustle to sell my house. You told me you'd make a coming soon post, or for sale. He actually just left, and the listing goes live tomorrow as we record this. Tonight, he's back in Michigan, but I said, hey, I'm going to go to the house, change the sign to for sale, and do you mind if I record a quick video of the house? Like, hey guys, check out my new listing. He's like, no, like I knew you were going to do that, and I'm thankful that you are. So it's like, how are you going to go above and beyond? And Connor, not to completely divert, but do you mind if I quickly speak to the agents that feel like they don't want to promote themselves on their personal page?
Yeah, man, I think that's a good topic.
Yeah, so I meant to say this before. I apologize. We kind of planned what we were going to discuss. Um, I used to struggle to post on my personal page. I hated it. Okay, and a mentor of mine, his name is Vincent Puglisi. He still leads a mastermind group that I'm in. He said, John, do you know realtors in your area that are gonna screw people over and take advantage of people? And I said, yes. He said, then you're being selfish by not posting. And I said, no, no, you don't understand. I'm being selfish by talking about myself and my business. It's like cocky. And he's like, I'm going to repeat it again. You're being selfish by not talking about your business. And I was so confused. I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, guy. So he says, John, if you know agents that are going to take advantage of people, do you? Yes. Okay. Are those agents going to go out there and hustle and talk about their business no matter what because they're just looking for the deal and the dollar? Yes. Okay. Then
Well,
what was the
got
balloons?
some. Birthday balloons out of nowhere, surprise. I don't know how that happened. It wasn't me, bro.
So,
It was just surprise.
okay. Anyway, he said, "Are you right by not?" So he said, "By not talking about your business, you're being selfish." And he looked at my social media and he said, "John, there's a difference. You don't sit there and say, 'Please work with me. I need the money. I'm begging for business.'" He said, "You put out what you're doing. You put out the success that you're having. And again, not in a cocky way. Like in every post where I have like sold or whatever, I put, 'Thank you so much to the clients. They did the hard work. Thank you to the lender, the title company.'" And I always write something to the effect of, "It was such an honor to be a small part of this process." Now, I was a big part of the process, guys. I wrote the contracts. I showed the 63 homes. I did whatever. But if you come at it from a place of humility, of I was honored to be a small part of the transaction, you're not the hero of the story. The client's the hero, the lender's the hero, the settlement company's the hero. You're just like a conduit to the journey. But if you do that, no one is going to fault you. And a lot of people will then say, "Well, I don't want to bother my friends about my business." And I say, "Do your friends want to support you and your family and your business?" And some will say like, "No." And I'm like, "Then they're not really friends." And if they do, then they'll be glad you're posting and encouraging you. And even if they're not buying or selling, say, "Hey, great job, like congratulations." It all comes from like where your heart's at. Are you just trying to take advantage of people? No. You really want to help people, then you're being selfish by not giving them a realtor option in your area who's going to be kind, show compassion, guide them through the steps. So I hope this encourages you. You're being selfish by not posting, and that's something that you've got to get over.
Yeah, and it's just like so like back in when was this 2015, 16ish, I was running a consulting company, helping a lot of people social media at the time. And a lot of the people that I was helping, they were scared to post their metrics or their success performance numbers and data that they, X amount of sales, X amount of growth, and things like that. So you see that we post our numbers and things like that out there publicly. And I think it's a lot of the conditioning that when we grow up in our families and around peers and friends and Christmases and things like that, in every family you're going to have successful individuals and some that are not as successful, and it creates a close environment where sometimes you don't want to be shining bright in front of, let's say you had a family had three children and one's really excelling and the other two are not. It can create some weird dynamics. And so our culture and over time in the human mindset is, let's not be braggadocious, let's keep it close to chest, let's not make people feel bad about themselves and kind of keep it close and reserved. But that's in the normal world that we live in: peers, personal, family, lifestyle. This is what we're talking about before. You have your personal life and then your business life, where when you're in the business world, you're trying to attract people that want to use you in business, and people want to work with winners, and they don't know if you're winning or not if you are sharing those numbers. And so I vividly remember I had a client that was a top mortgage broker. She's a really cool lady out of Houston, Texas, and she's just a rock star. She did like $10 billion in loans or something like that. She didn't want to put it out there, and I'm like, look, you're not bragging, you're not gloating, you're talking about what you've done, and you're distinguishing yourself in the marketplace. You've earned this scoreboard, you've sacrificed for this scoreboard, you deserve to use the scoreboard to increase the scoreboard. And I wanted her to put that in, so she put it all over her channel art and started showing who she is and what she is and what she's been able to accomplish. And that led to a lot more business, as you probably can imagine, a lot more credibility and attention. So let's say that you're doing 100 deals a year, and on your social media, "I'm a real estate agent," right? Or, "Here's what I do: 100 deals a year. I help 100 families in my community every single year," and show pictures and testimonials of it. So don't be scared to show what you guys are doing, because if nobody knows what you're doing, someone else is going to, those people that would be working with you are going to work with others that know what they're doing, but also show what they do, so they can validate the credibility that if they can sell 100 houses, well, I have a house I need sold, they can probably sell one more, right? So you need
Hmm.
to make sure that people know what you're doing out there, and if you're not, go build that scoreboard. We all started at zero at one point until we put that first point on the board and another one on top of it. But it is important. You guys don't hide from your success. Use it to increase your success, and then use your success after that to help others become more successful. But you take on that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think what I would love about what you just said too, Connor, is like it's not, it's also a way to do the post. I talk all the time and tell people, you're not a realtor, you're a storyteller. What kind of stories are you telling? So, for instance, what you just said, oh, you help 100 families a year. You could just be like, sold, congratulations, sold, congratulations. Instead, hey, let me tell you about my friend, right? And I just had this. Let me tell you about my friend Mary Kate, who bought a house. And she was a single mom, and she served in the military. and she just had so much going on. She didn't think she could buy a house. I've been friends with her since we were 16 years old, almost 20 years, and I shared that story. That story connected with people. I'm not just a robot buying. I'm not just I'm not just uh, helping you get a house, and I'm a robot. There's emotions here. There's relationships here, and I actually genuinely care about you as a person more than I often am so proud because my clients will say he cares more about the client than the commission, and that to me is exactly what I want to build a relationship. Of course I want to make money and provide for my family, but you're not a dollar sign to me. It's like the relationship matters, and so share that in the success stories on social media. A post sold, yeah, or your numbers, and I'm not against having numbers, but when you shift it, it's all about what you're talking about, you know shift that instead of like, oh, I'm amazing, I sold 100 homes. It's here's how I impacted 100 families this year and
That's
helped them
right.
buy homes, right? That kind of thing. It's just what you're deciding to talk about.
Yeah. Well, what do you think as far as like the best platform that you're working on right now? Like as far as I mean, we all put time into social media, obviously, and we're all doing them all. Where's your center of your time going into your business? Is it Facebook? Where do you think is the biggest return on your time? And this could be different for everybody, but obviously we all have our
Hmm.
specialties. And just out of curiosity, where do you think the highest and best return for your time invested in social media has come from?
Yeah, and I'll share my personal answer in 1 second. I would say for each agent, I would say start where you're already at. Okay, so why did I start on Facebook? Well, because when I went to college in 2006, I got Facebook. You had to have an edu email address, right? It feels like so long ago, and I remember after people saying Facebook's dead because they're letting people with non-edu email addresses on there. Well, guess what? Facebook is not dead. Facebook Meta is huge. So, but I would say I started on Facebook because it was the platform I already had, because I had 2,500 or 3,000 friends when I got into real estate, and I've grown that. And so that's what worked for me. I think so many realtors, when I talk to them, they're like, well, I need to go on TikTok and dance, and I need to do this, and I need to do reels, and I need to. That's great, and you probably do need to be on other platforms, but let's not be on other platforms to, um, to let's not be on other platforms just to be on other platforms. Like if
Right.
I'm what's the 80/20 rule, right? I'm going to put 80% of my effort into what's already working, and sure I want to work on other things, but let's put so for me it's Facebook. For I think for a lot of realtors you're going to find success on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I don't know many realtors that have connected like the LinkedIn thing to like be super successful, so I'm not the guy, but Facebook and Instagram are my main ones. And again, using posts, but also using stories, reels, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good advice. Mine was YouTube, and it's not just social media sites. I think it's overall general marketing strategies for your business. I see the same thing. It's where like everybody thinks they have to be on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all these. Same thing when it comes to marketing for deals. They think they need to be doing organic social media, paid social media. They think they need to be doing direct mail, cold calling, outdoor advertising, referral marketing, go into networks and network marketing. They think they need to be doing little bits of everything, oops, little tiny bits here and there. So like when people used to send me their marketing, business plans that they were drumming up, it'd be like, I'm going to send 100 postcards out. I'm going to make 100 cold calls. And it was just little bits of everything. And I'm like, you're going to be average at best at everything. You're never going to be an expert at one. Become an expert at one. And really, when you look at long-term career successful agents or entrepreneurs, and you ask them what they do or how they generate, they have like one specialty, and it's usually one, and then they do some things
Hmm.
around them, but one business, one specialty, one skill set, one direction, one goal usually gets you to where you're trying to get to if you obsess over it and focus on it and stay intentful on it for a long enough period of time. But one of the things that slowed me down was the bouncing around of trying to do too many things all at once. I couldn't have my focus on everything. I couldn't track everything. And it was when I reconsolidated my time and effort into kind of a more direct approach on a couple of them, that's when I started to see a lot of success personally for my businesses and myself.
Absolutely. Yep. You don't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none, where you do one Facebook post each month, one LinkedIn post, one YouTube video a month. Like the consistency is what works when it comes to social media.
So, what is like how are you getting conversions off of these platforms? So you're driving them. So obviously you're creating the attention. So that's one thing. So when we build businesses with social media, we have pre-content, content, post-content. Pre-content is the planning and optimization, the algorithms, and that side of things. The content's actually delivery, where we're catching their attention, watch time, video quality, message delivery, things like that. post content is the business building side. And I think a lot of people focus on the algorithms and pre content and then filming the content, but they're not thinking enough on how, once they catch the attention, once people are reading their posts, once they're watching their video, how do they get into a conversation with them? How are they monetizing this? Is it, you know, they driving them to a funnel, an email list, a QR code, a retargeting system? Like, how are you getting the attention to conversation with you? I know you said you put your number up there, but is there anything that you're doing unique to kind of get into conversations with these potential clients? And are you tracking any like metrics and data behind in the analytics that you can see who's watching your stuff? And are you reaching out to anybody? I'm just curious on kind of how you're getting to the business side of it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, I'm not good at like funnels and things like that, so I don't have a specific like, oh, here's the funnel and sign up for this email list. I need to get there, and I'm working on it. Right, I'm gonna focus like the 80/20, like I was just discussing. But my biggest thing is like when you share stories, people are gonna reach out. So, for instance, people first year, and I didn't even mention this before, but first year of my business, I did 90% buyers, and I was like, this is exhausting, right? I did some research, and it turns out, depending on the research you do, but basically each buyer you average about 40 to 50 hours with. Each seller you average about 10. So when I read that, did that research, I'm like, yeah, let me have more of that, the 10 hours with each client, not the 40 or 50. And you think, my first client, we looked at 63 homes, because so it was a lot more than probably 100 hours. So what did I do? I started sharing the journey of listing a home with me. Okay, that's kind of how I've really used social media. A lot of people will see me there, just the presence will be like, it's like someone reached out to me this morning. Hey, I saw your thing on social media. I actually knew that person that you just sold a home to. I've been looking at selling a home. Those kinds of things are going to happen for buyers. For sellers, it's a little harder, but I share the journey. So, for instance, now it's nice being in a hot market here, still in Lancaster, PA. In my career, I have never until this past week had a house on the market longer than 7 days. Never. This one was 9 days, but I can still say I've never had a
You just sell
property
my
on the
house.
market longer than 10 days. What's that?
I said, I need you to sell my house then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's all about how you paint the picture. Okay. So for instance, earlier this year, Connor, I sold my house, my previous home. We had moved into this home I'm sitting in now. That home we were going to sell. I only got one offer, Connor. On my house, every other house, I get multiple offers. This one, I only got one. So the social media post wasn't, oh, I only got one stupid offer. I shared, again, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to share the facts, but only the facts that help my case, right? So 40 showings, 30 people through the open house. So when I shared the post, I said, if you want 70 people through your home, let me know. Other homes, I only get 7 showings, but 6 offers. And I'll be like, we got 6 aggressive offers on this property. So you guys got to be better at storytelling and what story you're telling. I wouldn't say on my house, for instance, hey, we got 70 people through, but I only got one stupid offer. Like, you got to be, and actually, I think it was 5,000 over list with 10,000 seller help. So like, it wasn't that great of an offer, but we took the offer that we got. So apparently, I'm better marketing all of your houses than my own. But I think the biggest thing, Connor, is tell the story. So anytime I have a home that's under contract in under a weekend, I'll be like, "Hey, this is Jennifer's home. I told her and her fiance to get out of town for the weekend, go on a romantic getaway. It's Sunday night. They just came home. We're gonna look over the offers. I'm outside changing the sign from for sale to under contract." And so that stuff resonates with people where they're like, in my little cul-de-sac that I live in, there's a house that's listed there, been there for 50 days. So I kind of want to like, I hope that lady finds my social media because I can't, of course, when she's under contract, be like, hey, list with me. But I hope she finds my social media or sees the neighbor about to list with me. Um, that stuff works, man. And even whether it's a 20-year-old person selling or a 70-year-old person, when you show them factually the success, hey, every listing's under contract and sold within 10 days, it works. And so that's kind of using those videos and those stories. I feel like every time I have a listing that works successfully like that, I have someone in my Facebook inbox saying, hey, we had a home listed, it didn't sell for 2 months, can you talk to us, things like that. And so whatever you're really good at, capitalize on that, talk about that on social media, again, in a humble way, and it's going to bring you business.
Yeah, I mean, social media is great for first business, but this is a repeat business, meaning cyclical, career agent, having the same people work with them over and over and over the years. what's your kind of take on like the lack of congruency between people's social media forward facing person that they put out there, their best ambassador that they're trying to paint the perfect picture in every way. And then once they get into the conversation, that gets you to the first conversation, maybe the first deal with someone. But now, like John's saying, he does deals in 7 days or less. That's performance. They're going to say, "Wow, you perform
Mhm.
well." They're going to hire him again. But even if he perform well, but they don't like him, they may hire him again because he performed well. But if they hate him,
Mhm.
you want to be liked and perform well. So one of the things that I see a lot is the lack of congruency between the person of what they're presenting and marketing out there for the consumer to come across, and then when they get into a real conversation with them behind the scenes, they're this completely different person. They're not smiley anymore, and they're not this cool person. They're short and quick and snappy. How important is it for repeat business
Mhm.
and long-term relationships to unify kind of the social media approach and the real life approach, and kind of your take on that? And then I got a little bit of time for one more thing I want to go into with you that
Yeah.
is a good topic.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I think the biggest thing is like, there's a lot of people that I talk to, realtors I talk to. I don't want to be on video. I don't want to be on pictures. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. I don't. You, that's how you sound and how you look. If you're overweight, and I was really heavy for a long time, lost some weight, and I'm still losing weight. Guess what? That's how I looked. And if I didn't like it, I could do something about it. When I sit with the clients, they're gonna see that version of me. So I think whatever you're putting out there on social media, be real because people are gonna see through that. So I think that's one part of that, Connor. I think the other part is I talk to agents all the time and I say, do the things that got you there. Right? So many of us as new agents will kind of like wait on our clients hand and foot and this and that. And then like they don't hear from us for days on end. So I try to always remind myself when, especially sometimes I get out of balance. I'm doing so many things, right? I got all the entrepreneurial things, the podcast membership, all these things. You know, John, what were the things that got you there? What were the things that built success? I had my brother-in-law, who's a business leader, owner at Chick-fil-A, on my podcast, and he said something very interesting. He said, "Just so you guys know, I listen to this podcast 3 times a week when John puts it out. The things he's teaching you, he's actually doing." And I thought that really stuck out with me because I didn't ask him to say that. He's like, he cares about his clients. He checks in. He drops off things for your birthday. He drops off things at Christmas. Every year, I try to. Now, we moved last year and I didn't, and I wish I would have. Every year at Christmas, I buy a little gift, whether it's an ornament, whatever. If you don't celebrate Christmas, like you can be mad at me. And I drop off a little ornament and Christmas cookies. Uh, it's a cheap thing. It costs a few bucks, but it's a reminder. Hey guys, I just want to thank you so much for contributing to a great year. Your clients, guys, I hope as you listen to this, your clients are the only reason you're in business. No matter how much success you've had, okay? If you're selling out there in real estate, it can be gone like that. Well, guess what? Do you know how to make it stay? Treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat them better than that, right? So I have a list in my calendar. I know my clients' birthdays, their kids' birthdays, their anniversary, what their hobbies are, things like that. So I might not like do a gift every time, but at least like a phone call, a text on their birthday, a text happy anniversary. Those are things that realtors aren't doing. We get so busy, start to create success, have that six-figure income, feel kind of like we've made it, and feel like we're somebody. And we stop doing the stuff that brought us to success at the beginning. So that's how you kind of bridge that. Be the same person online that you are in person and genuinely care about people. Realize that no matter who it is, your brother in law, your sister, your mom, or some stranger that you've met on Facebook, they could work with any realtor in the world. They didn't have to pick you. And so be thankful that they did and actually show like thanks and appreciation that, hey, thank you so much for trusting me. Really. Like
Yeah.
you have to like pour into that relationship.
Yeah, no, I like that. Now you mentioned it a little bit as you're going through that your podcast. So let's kind of, since we are on a podcast, I've used podcasts on and off over the years to generate a lot of business. In fact, Mike, I got connected through podcasting. So think about what that's turned into. So podcasting is
Interesting.
incredibly
Yeah.
powerful. Let's go into the conversation on that. How do you see podcasting in your mind? Is it social media or is it relates to social media? Because I mean, technically, we take podcasts and chop it down to shorter form and things like that. But it's kind of in that arena. But what is it that you're using your podcast for? You've been having a lot of success with that. Maybe you can give the name and title of your podcast and how to find
Hmm.
it. But kind of give these agents an idea of, so you're using, obviously, we're talking about social media, Facebook and this, but podcast is a big part of your brand right
Hmm.
now. And
It is.
maybe give an idea of why you're doing it and the reasons that it's benefiting you and your business.
Yeah, so great question. I actually started a podcast just to help realtors. Anything I've done in my business on the entrepreneurial side, like from the podcast to now the membership and now the things I'm building, all was created from things I wish would have been there. When I was a year into real estate, I said I wish there would have been a podcast to help me, and I didn't even like podcasts at the time. And my mentor Vincent was like, "Go make it," and I'm like, "No, I've only been in a year, right?" And then my brokerage that I have since left and came to a great one at EXP was like, "You can't have a podcast. You don't know anything." And I said, "Excuse me? Like, how dare you?" And so I
Right.
basically,
Yeah.
kind of kind of stuck it to them and said, "I'm doing it anyway. Suck it up." And they said, "Fine. Then you have to have in the show notes that it doesn't represent our opinions, our views, blah blah, whatever." So I did that for a while, and then eventually got rid of it. But I really started to help agents so that agents would feel encouraged and feel like they have hope, feel like there is a. I mean, Connor, in 2 years, I went from completely broke, feeling like we were going to have to sell our house, to debt paid off, including our house. 200 and something thousand dollars, $280,000, right? Okay, so it is possible to create success in this business in a couple years if you actually work your butt off, right? What's very interesting, and for realtors out there, is my show is not for clients at all. My show is for realtors to help them in their business, but it does help my business because clients will find it, and it's actually very funny. A couple years ago, you know, a client said, "Well, we're interviewing a few agents. We just want to make sure you're not working part time." And I said, "Actually, that's so funny. I have a podcast for realtors, and just yesterday I released an episode saying you can't do this part time. Sent it to her, and they hired me." So, like, those things that I also think it kind of builds credibility, Connor. Like, just like what you do, what Mike does, like it builds credibility. Like me having a podcast is like me having a book. And so there will be clients that say, "Oh, well, you have a podcast for realtors, so clearly you know something. I want to work with you." My podcast could absolutely suck. I don't think it does. I think it's pretty good. But it because they see that I have a podcast, they're like, "You know something about real estate," and I have gotten business from it. So I'm actually very cautious about what I say because I'll talk about my clients on there
Yeah.
anonymous, and like they'll be like, "Hey, you talked about me on your show," and I'm like, "Oh, geez, I didn't know you listened." But I just think it's a way when I'm out there helping agents and serving them through the podcast for free, and you do this, you pour money into this every month, that you don't get paid for that. Well, they kind of see like, oh, John wants to help people, serve people. If you're listening to this thinking about podcasting, it is game changing. And I'm not against YouTube at all, but I did some research last year. There are 50 million YouTube channels, and there are 2 million podcasts. So I'm not against YouTube. I think it's a great tool. I want to be on there. But just so you know, podcasting is a very undertapped market. It really is, where you're out there on audio platforms, kind of putting your stuff out there, and so you could even create a podcast about Lancaster, PA, Houston, Texas, San Diego, whatever it is, and just talk about the city, what you like about it, and it could be sponsored by. Hey, this is the Lancaster, PA podcast sponsored by John Schuchman. John Schuchman's a realtor with EXP. Blah blah blah. Like you could be the one reading it, sponsoring your own show that you put out for people. So there's so many
Yeah.
different ways to creatively use a podcast to grow your business.
Yeah, I mean, it's super powerful for credibility conversion. So I talk about, there's two pretty much main, like you can increase your business multiple ways, either generate more leads or convert more of the leads that you're already bringing in. But the problem is, let's say you're generating 10 leads a month and you can only close 1 out of 10. That's a 10% conversion rate. But how do you increase your business if you don't have any time or money left? You're kind of stuck at that point. So the way that you increase that business is to increase the conversion rate. So now that because of credibility marketing, you're out there on podcasts, you're out there on videos, you have a microphone at your desk like this, just a basic studio setup, you're on book covers, magazine covers, you're on stage, you're being interviewed. Now when people come across you, you may get 2 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. So you're
Mm-hmm.
increasing the conversion rate of what you're generating, which is going to increase the amount of money coming back in your business that you can now take back to generate more leads on the lead generation side, and it cycles forward and waterfalls forward and kind of compounds out. But podcasting is a great way. Anytime you guys are being interviewed or interviewing someone, the person watching it automatically puts you on the position of a higher in the hierarchy structure. So anytime we see someone on
Absolutely.
stage, politicians on TV, movie stars, athletes, that we look at them on a pedestal above where we're at. And this is why YouTube is so powerful, and podcasting and the radio and all this is so powerful, because when you're growing up as a kid, where are all the celebrities? Where are all the famous people? They're on Sunday. They're playing on Phillies playing. That person's, look at all these politicians on stage with all these camera crews around them. That's what people see. And so when you do something similar, the way our brains work is they're going to put you in that credibility column. So just start thinking about that, guys. What you're going to do to increase the credibility in your marketplace. But on the way out here, I got just a few more minutes. How do they best find you? Where's the best place to kind of contact you if they want to reach out to you and talk about social media or potentially work with you and join your organization here with us at EXP and get what you provide for them? And what are some of the things that you do with your agents that are coming to work with you and here with the Wolfpack?
Yeah, the best way to find me, you can go to therealestatesurvivalguide.com. You can connect with me on social media, John Schuchman, and you can see there how it's typed. Feel free to add me, connect with me, message me. I did say to Connor, like, I will get on a call. Now, this isn't an EXP pitch or my membership pitch. Like, I will get on a call with anyone to talk about social media, give you 30 minutes of my time, give you some tools and tricks to
Blow them
help
up.
you. Because like it helps me be better for the people I get to teach and train. Like, and y'all probably get something in what we discussed that I make into a podcast episode later. So it's just about, any call I get on with someone, even this with Connor, and thanks for having me on, is like, hey, that was an idea I could use for my audience. Yeah, I mean, as part of, I do run a membership as well. You don't have to be part of EXP to get that. I basically, what I did was create a low price membership for realtors, $50 a month, to help them in their business. We have a call every Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern. And then we have a mastermind that actually meets Thursday nights, third Thursday, 7:30 p.m. There's an option there for, like, if you need more accountability. But I tried to create like a low price option for realtors to help grow their business. Now, if you're part of under me at EXP, you get all that for free. You don't have to do that, but it makes a lot of sense for people. And then, I think me and Connor knows this. We talk so much in EXP about value stacking, right? So if you come under me, you get all the access to me and Madison and our help, the membership, the mastermind, all the stuff. You get access to Jeremy Kane's stuff. You get access to Louis Galt stuff. You get access to Mike Sherrard, Connor Steinberg. Like, and Connor, you know this because you're part of the calls. Like, it's almost, and not a bad way. It's almost, when I joined, I was almost overwhelmed with how much there was that it actually took me a while to plug into all the calls. But it's like, where are you going to go and work that you say you're overwhelmed by all the free stuff and free help that they give you? Nowhere. I've never been at a place, right? And so, Connor leads a call every week on the Wolfpack. Mike Sherrard, like, these two, like, game changers in real estate, Connor and Mike, and Louie and Jeremy, are leading calls every single week. Like, my Mondays, it's like 10 a.m. Eastern, my call, 11 a.m. Eastern, your call, 12 p.m. Eastern, Jeremy runs a call. And so it's just like, but there's so much value. After 3 hours, we're probably all a little worn out, but there's so much value there to connect. I promise you, if you've, like, just and this is just the Wolfpack. We haven't even talked about, like, the EXP calls that they get, because I haven't even been on them because I've just been, there's so much in the Wolfpack. But I've never been part of a organization, Connor, that just gives you so much freaking value that you're almost like, oh my gosh, I'm only 10% of the way in, but I'm getting so much out of that. Like, I haven't even dove into Mike's Social Agent Academy. I know it's great. I just had so much business as I came over, and I'm thankful for it. So it's a lot. But anyway, people can connect with me anytime. I'm happy to chat. I love social media. I love, and I'll give you. I was an EXP doubter for a long, long time, and now I'm like, you dummy, you should have done this 3 years ago. So and I think, Connor, you hear that a lot. That a lot of us are like, why
I
did we
hear it all
wait?
the time.
Yeah,
And I did it myself. Like my story, I turned a cold shoulder to EXP for 2 years, and it really was because I was hearing negative things. And then I realized one day, why is all the negative stuff coming from the competitors? It's like, maybe I should pay a little closer attention. And I saw
that's
real
right.
numbers and real math. And I think
Yeah.
also, like, when people see behind our group, it's not just that we're talking about skill sets. It's a shared environment of goal setting, and a lot of people shooting for big goals in their life. It's more of like a high performance environment that's also welcoming for new agents, where everybody's reaching down
Mhm.
to help people up. But when people see everybody working hard and chasing their goals, it makes them realize that they're not alone. They're not an individual. Because, like, when I came in to the investment space, it's a lot different than the agent world. It's a little bit more private and conservative, where you're kind of lonely. Like, it's when I'm flipping houses, it's just like I flip another house for myself. And there wasn't this type of environment that now you see with the group, where everybody hops in, everybody's running, everybody's communicating, everybody's shooting for goals, sharing information. Where I was working all day before and coming home and sitting in my room by myself at night, guessing what are these other real estate investors in my market doing? Now I got their postcard in the mail, but how many are they sending out? What list are they mailing to? What's their frequent, you don't get all the
Hmm.
pieces of the puzzle in traditional business, but now because everything's so consumer facing, you can pop into someone's funnel, just like ClickFunnels, Russell says, how to find out, pop into it and reverse engineer it. So for one, you guys can study competitors' businesses a lot easier these days to learn what you're doing wrong in yours. And then also, if you get part of a great environment behind the scenes where there's a lot of people pushing and helping, you're going to save just a tremendous amount of time. And you're also going to have people motivating you when you're getting down on yourself, which is really common in business. So I'm just grateful that you came on here today, man, and shared some good nuggets here. We're going to get this out. Make sure to go follow him, guys, on his podcast and all his social media. If you think that you'd be a good guest, reach out to John. Sometimes you never know. He may put you on the show, but make sure you have something to talk about when you reach out to him. And other than that, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, John. And you guys all have a blessed day. And we'll see you when we see you.